Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Back with me, Muhammad Rofiansa. Today we're gonna talk about the inference of logic.
Okay, in this video we will discuss about logical inference. So, what is logical inference? Logical inference is the process of drawing conclusions from several propositions. Drawing conclusions will later produce either a valid argument or an invalid argument. So, our job is to decide whether the argument is valid or invalid. To decide whether an argument is valid or invalid, there are several statements or steps to do. So, let's say we got a question containing several premises and also a conclusion. What is a premise? The premise is a hypothesis or assumptions, and then a conclusion is inference. So, in this logical inference question, we are given several premises and also a conclusions. Then we are asked to find out whether the argument is valid or invalid. And what is argument? An argument is a collection of sentences, consists of one or more premise, sentence, hypothesis, and sentence conclusion or inference. To decide or prove a logical inference, we have two ways. The first way is to use a truth table, and the second way is using affirmation or use the law of inference. What is the difference between the two, and when can we use them? So, the first is truth table. We are using the truth table if in the question or problem there are two premises only, can be more, and these premises do not exist in the laws of logical inference, as we can see the example in the right. And then the second is we are using the affirmation method if there are more than two premises in a logic inference question or problem, like in the right example. So, if in the problem there are several premises and we are asked to determine the final results of these premises, then to determine the problem we can use the affirmation method or we can use the laws of logical inference. So that you guys can quickly understand how to find out the statement or steps in defining logical inference, let's go straight to the first method with using a truth table. To find out whether an argument is valid or not, there are following steps can be used. The first is to determine the premises and conclusion of the argument. So, in a problem, we usually don't know which part is the premises and which part is the conclusion. So, the first way to determine the logical inference is to determine the premises and also the conclusions of the problem. The second is that we create a table that shows the truth table for all the premises and also the conclusion. So after we know the premises and conclusion, then we create a truth table. Then we can prove whether these arguments are tautological or whether they are all true. That's why we use the truth table. Next, the third is to find the critical line, which is the line where all the premises are true. So, from the results of the truth table, we're looking for the critical row. That is, by looking at the premises that are true. If premise 1 and also premise 2 are all true, then that is the critical row. Lastly, in the critical line, if all the conclusions are true, then the argument is valid. After we look at the premises from the truth table, we can see whether the conclusion is true or false. If all of them are true, then the argument is valid. So that you guys will understand better, we will discuss example question in the next video. Thank you.
So guys, that's just the first video. It's just a part 1. So we're gonna learn more in the part 2. So don't forget to watch next.